Thermal power generation in South Africa primarily relies on coal as a fuel source, making it a significant contributor to the country's energy mix. The country has abundant coal reserves, which has historically enabled a strong coal-based power generation sector. Thermal power plants convert heat energy from burning coal into electricity, providing a reliable and stable energy supply essential for economic development and supporting industries. Despite the advantages, South Africa faces challenges such as the environmental impact of coal usage and the need to transition to more sustainable energy sources. However, thermal power remains a critical part of the energy landscape, particularly as the country works toward addressing its energy needs and improving infrastructure. 10 advantages of thermal power generation in South Africa. 1. Reliability and consistency. Thermal power generation provides a reliable and consistent energy supply, as coal plants can operate continuously to meet demand. For example, the large coal-fired power plants like Eskom's Kendal and Matimba stations offer a steady supply of electricity, crucial for industrial and residential use. 2. Abundant local resources. South Africa has vast coal reserves, making thermal power generation an accessible option. This local resource availability helps reduce dependency on imported fuels, ensuring energy security. For instance, the Waterberg coalfield is one of the largest coal reserves in the country, supporting local power generation. 3. Job creation. The thermal power industry provides numerous employment opportunities, both directly and indirectly. For example, jobs are created in coal mining, power plant operations, maintenance, and supply chain logistics, contributing to local economies and livelihoods. 4. Infrastructure development. Investment in thermal power generation often leads to the development of essential infrastructure, such as roads and railways for coal transportation. For instance, rail lines connecting coal mines to power stations improve logistics and support regional development. 5. Economic growth. Thermal power generation supports economic growth by providing the electricity necessary for industrial processes and manufacturing. For example, consistent power supply from thermal plants enables industries such as mining and steel production to operate efficiently. 6. Technological advancements. The thermal power sector encourages technological advancements in power generation, including improvements in efficiency and emissions control. For instance, the implementation of carbon capture and storage (CCS) technologies can reduce the environmental impact of coal-fired power plants. 7. Energy diversification. Thermal power adds diversity to the energy mix, helping to stabilize the grid. This diversification reduces reliance on a single energy source and enhances energy security. For example, combining thermal power with renewable sources like wind and solar can create a more resilient energy system. 8. Lower initial capital costs. Compared to some renewable energy projects, the initial capital investment for thermal power generation can be lower. For instance, building coal-fired power plants may require less upfront investment than constructing large-scale solar farms or wind farms. 9. Ability to scale. Thermal power plants can be built in various sizes, allowing for scalability to meet growing energy demands. For example, smaller modular coal plants can be constructed to provide energy to remote areas or regions with less demand. 10. Immediate energy supply. Thermal power plants can generate electricity quickly in response to increased demand. For instance, during peak usage periods, coal-fired power plants can ramp up production to provide the additional energy needed to stabilize the grid. Here are 12 disadvantages of thermal power generation in South Africa. 1. Environmental pollution. Thermal power plants, particularly coal-fired ones, release pollutants such as sulfur dioxide, SO, nitrogen oxides, NOx, and particulate matter into the atmosphere, contributing to air pollution. This can lead to health issues in nearby communities and affect overall air quality. 2. Greenhouse gas emissions. Coal-fired power generation is a major source of carbon dioxide, CO, emissions, contributing to climate change. South Africa's reliance on coal makes it one of the top emitters of greenhouse gases in Africa, exacerbating global warming and its impacts. 3. Water consumption. Thermal power plants require significant amounts of water for cooling and steam generation, which constrain local water resources, especially in water-scarce regions. For example, coal power plants in South Africa can consume large volumes of water, affecting availability for agriculture and drinking. 4. Land degradation. The extraction of coal through mining leads to land degradation, habitat destruction, and biodiversity loss. Open-pit mining operations can severely disrupt ecosystems, leading to long-term environmental consequences. 5. Health risks. Communities near thermal power plants may face health risks due to exposure to air pollutants and hazardous materials. Increased respiratory diseases, cardiovascular problems, and other health issues have been linked to pollution from coal-fired power generation. 6. Dependence on fossil fuels. Reliance on thermal power generation keeps South Africa dependent on fossil fuels, hindering the transition to renewable energy sources. This dependency can create vulnerabilities in energy security, particularly as global markets shift towards cleaner energy alternatives. 7. Economic vulnerability. Fluctuations in coal prices and potential regulatory changes regarding emissions can create economic instability for the thermal power sector. For instance, rising coal prices may lead to increased electricity costs for consumers and businesses. 8. Social displacement. Coal mining operations can lead to the displacement of local communities and disruption of livelihoods. For example, communities may be relocated to make way for mining activities, resulting in loss of homes and traditional land rights. 9. Infrastructure strain. The extensive infrastructure required for coal transportation, including railways and roads, can strain existing systems and lead to increased maintenance costs. Poor infrastructure can also result in delays and inefficiencies in coal supply. 10. Limited job creation in the long term. While thermal power generation provides jobs, the long-term job prospects may be limited due to automation and the shift towards cleaner energy sources. As the energy sector evolves, many traditional roles may become obsolete. 11. Difficulty in transitioning to cleaner technologies. Investments in existing thermal power infrastructure can make it challenging to transition to cleaner energy sources. For example, utilities may be reluctant to invest in renewable energy due to the sunk costs in coal-fired plants, delaying the adoption of cleaner technologies. 12. Public opposition and protests. Increasing awareness of the environmental and health impacts of coal power generation has led to public opposition and protests against thermal power projects. This can create political and social tensions, complicating energy policy development.